So is the Sony a7C Mark II a pro sport photography camera? Well, let's jump right into it. So recently I went to the US Open to do some pro sports photography while testing out the lens by Tamron, the 50-300 out of the US Open. I went to New York City to go ahead and try to test out that lens at the US Open with having some of the best people in the world when it comes down to tennis players, where I could test out that lens and camera combo to see how well that lens would perform, but also to see if this camera could be a great sports photography camera. Now, some of you might be wondering, why didn't I choose my Sony a7 IV, since it has a little bit more of the quote-unquote pro features into a camera, because it has more customization within the camera, dual SD card slots, so on and so forth with the grip and everything. And the simple answer was, I wanted to have something a little bit more compact when it came down to traveling out to New York City for one, and two for the US Open. The main reason for the US Open is because I did try to go and work for a media pass, but since I'm not affiliated with a network or anything like that, I wasn't able to have a guarantee to be able to bring, all my full setup. So I just wanted to bring a little bit something more compact and friendly to bring into a sling bag as I went through security and everything to make sure that everything would go correctly. So ergo, here comes the Sony a7C Mark II, because it's a baby a7 IV and it has the great features of it. So it made more sense for me to just go ahead and bring my a7C Mark II for everything else that I was going to do around New York City. But because it has some updated features that my Sony a7 IV doesn't have, that I thought it would be great to use. Speaking of those features, one of the main thing was a little bit of the more updated, autofocus with the AI chip that they added into this camera, as well with the different modes and everything that you can do within the camera itself to have better tracking autofocus, especially because these pro players are moving rather fast. And as you know and have seen maybe in my other videos, if you haven't seen it with the testing out of it, this camera really performed great. It really would work like any other pro camera out there when it comes down to doing sports photography. It's not gonna be no Sony a9 Mark III or anything of that caliber, because obviously you're not paying the price point either, but this thing held its weight so perfectly. I genuinely was so happy and excited with the results that I was able to get from this camera and the Tamron lens that I use, where people were very intrigued by the photos that I was taking and that I posted on Instagram and everything, that actually on Twitter itself, it kind of went a little bit viral with some of the photos I took with this, which for me, viral is, the reach that I got from it. It reached like 30,000 people, got a good amount of likes and everything, which is really cool to see. And it all came down from this camera versus using something, more expensive or anything to do some pro photography. So in hindsight 2020 kind of scenario, saying, yeah, this camera is great for pro sports photography. Is it going to be the choice that most pro photographers might use for sports photography for their job? Probably not. Heck, even my a7 IV probably not be the most ideal for them, but I still think it's a great camera to use regardless of it, whether it's the a7 IV or this one right here. For me personally, with the choice of using the a7C Mark II, it just worked flawlessly. I know not having the dual SD card slot could have been a little bit of a hectic nerve, wreck for some, even for myself mostly, but I haven't had any issues so far using one SD card slot. So I kind of wanted to take the risk and just go ahead and use it, and honestly paid off. I had a really good compact body when it came down to be able to use it all day long, which was so nice because I only really honestly used one battery throughout the whole day, which was kind of surprising because I brought extra just in case, but I didn't have to, which was very nice. And the good thing about it all as well is that it fit so nicely in my hand where it didn't feel like I was lugging around too much. It made me feel more refreshed when I'm trying to take the photos. Even using the EVF kind of like finder right here, I was able to bring it up to my eye to go ahead and take the photos without any issues, just see through it a lot nicer to be able to capture the photos that I needed to take without having any hesitation about if I was gonna miss the focus or not. Because the great thing about this camera is the updated autofocus. Like I said, it just worked so well to kind of lock onto my subject to make sure I wasn't missing any shots, that I captured so much good motion in the footage and the photos that it was just perfect with bringing this camera. I was able to get really crispy footage as well because it has the, in custom camera LUTs that I'm able to use to make sure I get everything quick and efficient as I went from video to photo when I was taking photos and videos out there, fast. I didn't have an option to be able to say, okay, I'm only gonna do video with this camera and then photos with this one and set up anything. It was more on the go, kind of just run and gun style, that you would just go ahead and take photos, videos, whatever you could in the moment. And that's why I chose this. It was just, you know, still a very efficient with the switch like how my a7 IV has, but this one has it as well. And I can customize everything to what I would need to perform as fast as possible to get everything I needed whenever it came down to the limited time that I had at the US Open. I got to get some amazing shots. I got to get some slow shutters. I got to take some good freeze motion kind of photos and just every little detail kind of shots that I wanted to capture with this camera. I think it's probably some of the best photos that I've taken in a long while, and especially for sports photography when it comes down to just pro level. I got to capture great matches and get good, you know, moments and everything captured that I didn't miss a beat, that I felt like I wasn't gonna get what I wanted to get. This performed so perfectly. A pro body in this size is just really great when it comes down to travel, and especially when you know you have to be moving quite a bit to capture things. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go with this camera over my a7 IV, just because of the size compactability, but as well that I knew that I was gonna be getting some great crispy shots and good quality of them at that, to be able to maintain for, you know, post-processing, whether it's having to crop in a bit because of the 33 megapixels, but the range that I had of the lens, I wasn't scared of that. So could you use this camera for a more pro level type of sports photography? Well, obviously, yes. You saw what I was able to do and it's obvious. Is it gonna be the top choice for most people? Probably not, but if you were curious to be able to dive into more of the pro level sports photography and you didn't have the budget for certain cameras and you want to have maybe a compact body of a camera, I think having this Sony a7C Mark II would be the most great camera to start with and get into it, to capture the right photos and keep learning while still getting amazing pro results as you keep learning and progressing in your career in photography. So for me personally, I think this is a great camera for pro sports photography. I had a lot of fun using it. I performed really well, felt confident with my results, and I'm just very happy that I brought this one over my Sony a7 IV for what I needed, especially for being out there for so many hours. So now let's bring it back down to you for the question. Would you want to use the Sony a7C Mark II for pro sports photography, or is there something in a range that it's probably similar that you would prefer? Most people will probably say the Sony a7 IV because of the price range comparison, but I'm always curious to know what you would pick and why. So go ahead and leave a comment down below and let's get into some discussions to see what other people have to say about it. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.